as many of you have, we've traveled to our different respective organizations, national, regional conferences, and you talk about what happens in Sioux Falls and how we work together and how closely interrelated our partnerships are. And you hear it time and again, it just doesn't happen everywhere. So kudos to all of you, and then thank you for showing up this morning. Appreciate that. I've been with the mayor's office coming up on 7 years, and really has been an interesting, obviously very rewarding time, and have seen a lot of changes. Obviously, we all went through COVID and all the things that came with that. But one of the things that I really want to call out today in particular, and he didn't pay me to say this, but is the work that downtown Sioux Falls has done, the transformational work your organization has done in this last year, and the hiring of Brandon and the reimagining and reorganization of his staff and the staff of the DTSF. And it's just, I have the pleasure of being the city's ex officio member on their board. And it's just so encouraging and energizing to go to those meetings and hear what's going on and hearing what's happening. And DTSF is such an important partner to the city. We have a lot of important partners, and you're going to hear more about them from my colleagues in a minute, but DTSF is really one of those key partners. And obviously those of us who live, work, and recreate and come downtown and enjoy all the amenities understand that. But for those people, and that don't come downtown and don't understand downtown, the property taxes and the sales tax that are driven by this district downtown is huge. Right? And what people don't understand in this whole discussion about property taxes at the state level is that the commercial development paying the property taxes that they do are what helps keep the residential property taxes flat or at a much more manageable level. Just go to one of our neighboring towns where they don't have a lot of commercial and they have all residential for their tax base, and ask them what their property taxes are per thousand and their valuations and all that good stuff. So it's key for a lot of reasons that DTSF is successful, and again, kudos to all of you before I get in my slides. The last thing I want to say quickly, and I will get into the slides, is a shout out to a couple staff people here. I think Dustin Powers, who is our business development coordinator, and Adam Roach, who is our urban planner. Very familiar to those of you active in downtown. They've been our downtown planners and the kind of the heart and soul of our department and what they do. So please give them a hand and thank them. I don't get to do that many more times, so you guys have put up with it. All right. Yesterday at Rotary, Mark and I talked about growth and talked about a lot of things. I did not add these slides, but we did what I called the 10 Haken total. I'll look back at the last 7 years since the mayor has been the mayor and what kind of growth we've seen both in building permits and what type of growth we've seen in population as well. And so I don't have the slides, and on Wednesday, on tomorrow morning, at 10:30, the mayor has a press conference where he announces the population for after 2025, and he announces our final total for building permits. And what I'll tell you about, so I can't jump the queue and give you that number today, but what I can tell you is we crossed $1 billion in building permits for the 5th year in a row. I mean, we did it in September. And generally it doesn't happen until November, so that was a sign that was going to be a good year. The anomaly year was 2022, where we crossed that threshold in July. So when it's all said and done, the slide I showed yesterday showed that in the years that Paul has been the mayor, we've had over $7 billion worth of building permits issued in the city. So I can safely tell you that his grand total after 8 years of service will be well over $8 billion, $8 billion. The population, again, we saw kind of a spike, and I won't get into a lot of the details on that, but again, 21, 22, we saw a spike in population. And so the number that we shared yesterday, I think, was 37,000 new residents since he's been mayor. So again, I can tell you that number will be well over 40,000 people that have joined us in Sioux Falls, not counting the surrounding areas, just in Sioux Falls since he became mayor. So easily that's the third largest city in the state of South Dakota on its own by a long ways, followed by Aberdeen, which is about 26,000. So it's really quite an accomplishment, and the growth that has happened has been the result of good planning. It's been the result of a good public works and good public safety, and just a good team that the mayor has been able to assemble. We're the planning department. We do a lot of planning. There's a lot of things going on right now, and there's things that those of you that are involved with downtown realize we just finished the Horizons Downtown Plan 2035 last year, and are working on that as we go through. We're in the finishing phases of our new citywide comprehensive plan, Shape Sioux Falls 2050, looking at a 25-year look ahead for that, and we're just wrapping that up. We'll be going through City Council in February on that. The arts and cultural plan is out there. We have Mara Engel, our new arts coordinator, is working on that right now. We have a call next week with some preliminary findings on that. We'll start working that through the system as well. And of course, we have the Falls Park Master Plan, I believe, tomorrow night, tomorrow night, I think there's an informational on that. And so a lot of things happening at the same time, all that affect the city, but certainly that have a lot of focus and energy around downtown and all that you guys bring to that. So excited about that. Again, be engaged. They all have ways to be engaged online. Obviously, there's public meetings input. We've done some pop-up events where we go out. That's Riverfest and Open Streets have been great opportunities to engage the public where they are versus the traditional sitting back and wondering why nobody showed up. So it's been a good event that way. When I spent a lot of years in economic development, and we always joked about with economic development, you get two announcements. You announce when the project's going to happen, and you announce after the ribbon cutting when the project. You get as many announcements out of it as you can. Get them on smileys. Well, this is a project that I've gotten more mileage out of than I probably should have. This is the rail yard redevelopment. This is Jake Christensen's project next to the 8th and Railroad Center in that large open gravel lot, about four acres there. Been a lot of speed bumps along the way. The post-COVID, there's a lot of market conditions that came into play. We had a lot of inventory coming online. I know Jeff's here, Jeff Schursick. Thank you for your investment and the work that you've done. And Jake's been very thoughtful about timing the 200 and roughly 30 apartments he wants to bring to market about that. And we've had a lot of complications with the neighboring landowner and getting easements and things that we could actually realize with the full project. So all of that hopefully is approved. We're in the final process steps of the development agreement, and we're hopefully bringing this through council on February. And if it doesn't happen, I have to announce it again, I'm never going to talk about it. So. But it's a great project. And Jake, I've been down to Des Moines 2 or 3 times, toured his project. He's very creative. He's very in-town, infill development's kind of his thing. He's done a lot of work in what they call the East Village in Des Moines. You'll see his footprint. And it's really neat because his projects are unique. They're not cookie cutter at all. So this is kind of the original concept. We're still looking at the office building along 8th. The parking ramp may move back to the south end of the development. There's some issues or some considerations for fire access, that type of thing. And then here's the rendering of the office building that he's talked about. He has an anchor tenant in place, and hopefully that construction can start fairly soon. But that's the project. The other one, we put out the as you know, we occasionally put out surface parking lots for sale. The 1-2 was the most recent one that was on that lot across the street from Ace Hardware. And then they were able to assemble additional land, so they developed the whole entire half a block with Lloyd companies. This is the latest lot that we have out for negotiated sale. It is the parking lot. It's a half a block, about 100 spots behind the shrine. And so we actually received our first proposal yesterday. I just kind of paging through it. Excuse me. We put those out as we get interest in them. We had a party approach us with some interest in that. I think we have a couple that will probably submit on that. It'll go through an internal process where we review them, we interview the finalists, and then we select a project to move forward with. So are you connected to the internet? Can you do that link? No? Yes? Maybe? That's kind of fun. Anyway, this is on our website. We put this out. Dustin takes care of it. It's a listing for the property, talks about the attributes of the property, and then talks about the process you go through. But if you can't hit the link, that's okay. Anyway, those are the two big projects coming to downtown. There's a lot of really more exciting stuff that Mark has to talk about with Public Works coming too, and things that we've talked about. But again, thank you for all that you guys do. Appreciate it. Thank you for showing up this morning. And again, I will be around for a little while afterwards if you have any questions. And if you have really hard questions, I'll just let Mark answer them. So.
Thank you, Jeff. I think those two projects are really exciting for us in downtown as they promote infill and density and ultimately produce more and more foot traffic for the existing businesses that are down here and bring some new quality of life options for folks. Next up, we have Mark Cottter, Director of Everything at the city, but really I think it's the Director of Public Works.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. And I don't think my clicker is working anymore, but thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for coming today. I also want to echo, just really compliment Downtown Sioux Falls for hiring Brandon, Taryn, all the energy that exists on that team just makes it very much effortless for us to make that connection and advance a number of initiatives. So thank you. I put together a handful of slides this morning to look back at 2025 on some wins and then also look forward on 2026, some planned improvements, along with some things that we're exploring. So when I tell my team I put in an exploring slide, they were very nervous. So I thought, let's just test it out, what could possibly go wrong. So, all right, 2025. So I spent a lot of time on 14th Street, really looking at how the vehicles, how the pedestrians, how all that interfaces. Did a number of ramp upgrades, reduced the speed limit from essentially 2nd Avenue east over to 7th. One of the key things that we've heard some really good feedback about is getting that lead pedestrian interval. So before the signal changes to allow the vehicles to start, we actually bring up the walk sign, and so the pedestrians get about a 5-second head start into the intersection, so really makes the pedestrians visible before the light changes, so that can just increase safety. And then to bring things up to today's standards, added the audible piece to the signals. The next one that we've been working on for a number of years, this got identified several years ago in a connection study that there was a desire to have a connection from downtown to the zoo and to the bike trail on the west side of the city, or western edge of the bike trail system, I should say. It's still somewhat central. It's been called the 15th Street Bike Boulevard. It generally follows 9th Street and then traverses on Prairie, and then goes further west on 15th Street. So there's probably an opportunity for renaming if there's some creative minds in the room. But there's a number of elements that were added, and it was really to create a safe on-street connection from downtown all the way to the bike trail. 3 traffic circles, some green bike symbols with tape systems put in. 2 traffic signals that were added on 10th and 11th to cross at Prairie. Those just went live last year. Some pedestrian bump outs in some strategic areas, and then surfacing improvements, because some of that pavement was tired on the route, so we also wanted to get that milled and overlaid to make it a little bit safer and smoother for bikers. All right, some things that we've been working on with Downtown Sioux Falls to improve the pedestrian experience. Signal timings, some may or may not know this, but for the most part, when you walk downtown, rarely do you stand at a crosswalk for more than 30 seconds. So the maximum time in the signals in downtown that you'd actually stand waiting for the light to change is 39 seconds. That's absolutely favors pedestrians with the volume of pedestrians that we have downtown. If you drive on 10th or 11th, the scoop that you can take away today is if you drive 20 miles an hour, you can generally get through all the signals with a green time. So we've favored that progression at a 20 mile an hour traffic speed. Annual street maintenance projects, one of the things we want to do is that if we were to make the investment, we want to make sure that we also complement that with a good maintenance program. So over $100,000 is spent every summer just to repair various damaged seat walls. We've had a couple by the library that seems to be a good target. So the masons have been active on repairing that from time to time. Decorative fencing, resetting brick pavers, refreshing planters, refurbishing trash and recycling receptacles, and then also just pedestrian curb ramps and sidewalk repairs, getting those detectable warnings, keeping them in good shape. A bit of trivia. Anybody guess how many traffic signals there are downtown? One guess, please. Okay, you're a little high. So it's 30. All right, so about 10% of our traffic signals, we have about 330 traffic signals throughout the city. About 10% of them are actually located in downtown, really, again, to promote good pedestrian movement. And then we have a number of other areas that really help keep pedestrians safe. The rapid rectangular flashing beacons have been a really good addition that we've started to add at key locations throughout the city. And then obviously just trying to keep up with all the crosswalks and the curb ramps to make sure that that pedestrian experience is very good in downtown. All right, for some investments that will be made, the next phase of Minnesota Avenue will be bid here on the 22nd of this month. We'll start at the top of the hill at 2nd Street and go through 7th Street. It's estimated about $19 million. There's two different packages. We already bid the pipe. So the main water distribution pipe that comes from the plant is 36. We're upgrading it to a 42-inch pipe. That's already been, that pipe has been procured. And so this project becomes much more, is why they take so long to really rebuild a typical utility system. This is kind of a utility system on steroids, with it being the main distribution pipe that feeds central Sioux Falls, and then there'll be two additional distribution mains laid next to that for properties on both sides of the road, and then a full complement of the streetscape. On-street parking has been removed, and so you can, if you look closely and you see that buffer, that colored buffer between the back of curb and the edge of sidewalk, that's one of the things that's been asked, is how do we create more of a buffer between the driving public and the pedestrians? So removing on-street parking, gain that space so we can create that more of a safe zone. So it'll be a pretty intense summer, but by the end of the summer, we'll have that section of Minnesota Avenue done. One of the things that we are evaluating is if we should move the traffic signal from the top of the hill at 2nd down to 4th Street. 4th Street now being kind of a main connection into downtown, in front of, be right at the police station there, but also brings you right into the Levitt, Phillips Avenue, Steel District. And so we're just starting those conversations. And if it proves out, we'll end up moving that traffic signal from 2nd to 4th. I put this in there specifically for Jeff Schurslick, whistle reduction project. So had a great first step with this when we reconstructed 6th Street and the 6th Street Bridge. We put the first of 3 improvements in place. That was in 2023. Here in about, I think in March or early February, we'll bid 2 additional intersections. We've got to create a mile stretch that has the appropriate gate systems in place to then apply to Burlington Northern for a whistle reduction, AKA quiet zone. And so the improvements that'll happen this year is really close to the project that Jeff had mentioned at 8th and Weber. And so there's all that pavement will come out, and then new pavement goes in, really to favor and build all the necessary attributes. And then Burlington Northern will come in after us and put in all their specific gate systems. And then the other one is at 3rd and Weber. And so once those 3 are in place, we hope by the end of 2026, then we can actually get this implemented in 2027. Yes. All right. One of the projects that's going to be happening in Sioux Falls and in Uptown is an electrical underground conversion. So the city of Sioux Falls has their own captive electrical distribution service territory, and we've been steadily starting to underground a lot of our overhead power. In many cases up in this area, if you look at, next time you drive on North Main and you start to look in the backyards where the overhead power is, the access is really challenging. A lot of tree trimming that's needed on a frequent basis. And so we've worked with this neighborhood to underground those facilities, and then we'll bring the transformers out front. So it'll be a nice upgrade. If you've been in the St. Francis House neighborhood, we've been there, and just really from an aesthetic standpoint, but from an electrical reliability standpoint, has been a good move forward. So when you start to see that, that's a project that's already been bid. It's a local contractor has it, and we're excited to get that work done. All right, the viaduct study has been a lot of opportunity here for input, and there still will be a substantial amount of input going forward. The design team right now, they're preparing renderings based on the feedback, and so we can meet with downtown Sioux Falls, and then shortly after that we'll have our next public meeting. I would expect the next round of renderings to be done in probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks. We'll pull the downtown Sioux Falls group together, get feedback, make any adjustments, and then we'll have another public meeting. So be looking for that as we advance the viaduct study. On here you can start to see some of the pedestrian connections. There's a pedestrian bridge that's sketched in between the two river bridges to really enhance that pedestrian connectivity, and just much more to come. You know, right now this is planned in the 2030 to 2032 DOT program. So there's a substantial amount of time still for public input. We obviously still have to take a bridge up and over the railroad tracks, but with the main switch yard been removed and being redeveloped downtown, really allows us to, those spans between the bridges, to do something new and fresh in this space. All right, I told you I put an exploring slide in here, so some additional opportunities to partner with downtown. There's some strategic bump outs that that we can continue to look at and see if they're feasible. Sometimes when you look at some, larger college campuses, you'll start where there's heavy foot traffic, just like our downtown, is you'll start to see not only crosswalks, but raised crosswalks. We've built a few in Sioux Falls. There may be some opportunities to do raised crosswalks in downtown in some strategic locations, and in some cases, even raised intersections. And it just brings much more attention, much more opportunity to see pedestrians, and so looking for that. We're looking to do, I know there's been discussion about 14th Street and an actual pilot a 3-lane facility. We've seen a lot of that when we were putting up traffic control to build the bump outs last year, so we could observe how traffic was functioning. And so we're going to first start this with just doing a virtual simulation with the traffic model. And so we've got good counts, we've got good observations of what happened during the construction, and so before we actually go to the field and actually do a hard 3-lane road pilot, we'll do a virtual simulation first, engage downtown Sioux Falls, and talk through what we're observing. Parking, back-end diagonal parking, we've got some of these in downtown and MB in front of Sharapa, and still, as we have these opportunities, we want to continue to refine them, see if they work in those locations, and so keep your eye out on that, tell us your feedback. And then some aesthetic improvements in this last year at 11th Street and Phillips Avenue. There's some actual art that went down in tape, so it's not just paint. It'll actually should last for 2 to 3 years, and so we've got some of those opportunities too. All right, and really quickly, we are making some investments outside of downtown, so I thought I'd give this group just a quick area. We're starting in the upper right. This is Cliff Avenue and 229. That project's half done, but already operates much, much better than the previous setup. Arrowhead and Veterans Parkway will be done this summer. We had the most difficult portion this last summer with heavy utilities, and now we'll start to build the other elements of that project, but looking forward to having Arrowhead and Veterans Parkway done. That's obviously a key connection into Sioux Falls and into downtown. 85th Street and I-29, that's the next diverging diamond. It's probably going to be one of the most transformative interchanges you've seen. There's a lot of sensitivities that we had to design through with it being so close to 229 and I-29. And so you'll start to see that. It's very much stretched out, braided ramps, diverging diamond. We're excited to get that one constructed. And then the last picture there in the upper left is structure over the Burlington Northern. That's for the next phase of South Veterans Parkway that's currently under construction. Lots happening with utilities. We've laid out the utilities for the next, in some cases on the west side of town, for the next 100 years. We've upgraded the wastewater plant. We've got a good long planning horizon on our water system with Lewis and Clark, and now we're also at the table with Dakota Main Stem. So those are all good topics that if there's other questions in the future, I can speak more to. And last thing is just a call to action that with having about 85 square miles of mature city, we really need to hear from you. One of the best ways to engage us 24/7 is to download the city app. If you have a pothole, if you have a street light out, if you have graffiti, using the app actually geo-references that location for our team so we know exactly where to go to. And we just encourage you to reach out to us so we can get that information and get that issue corrected as quickly as possible. That's the end of my slides. I want to thank you for giving me the time and space to give you an update on Public Works. Thanks. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you, Mark. I think we're all excited about the whistle zones, so not just Jeff, but really excited about the Explore slide as well, all those opportunities to keep boosting walkability in downtown. The 2035 Downtown Horizon Plan references several times that downtown will be the most walkable district in the country. So a lot of work to do, but excited to have you as a partner. So next up, we have Chief Thum and Michelle Treasure co-leading the next section. So come on up.
Chief Thum really felt like the two of us could kind of tag team this topic and what we've got going on, what we've accomplished. So he and I will do this together here this morning. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Chief Thum. On a side note, I really wanted to be smart about this, but I feel like there's 500 traffic signals downtown whenever I'm trying to get anywhere. But trust the engineers. That's what I've learned throughout my career is trust the engineers. So, yeah.
In my role, I talk a lot about collaboration. I feel like I say that word almost every other word when I speak to people, but really, truly, in this work and specifically in the downtown area, collaboration is so important. And what I want to highlight is there's several organizations that are up here on the screen. Obviously, there's many, many more. I wouldn't have been able to fit everyone on one slide that we all work with collaboratively. But what I want to highlight is just the importance that the downtown businesses have in that collaborative effort. We can't do any of this work without you guys and without hearing from you and getting some feedback. And I will say the first summer in this role was a little rough. We were seeing a lot of challenges. We were seeing a a lot of tension, a lot of problematic and nuisance behavior, and just not necessarily really knowing what to do and how to support some of our most vulnerable populations. And so without you all and the feedback that we received that summer to help pave the direction that we took to support people, we truly wouldn't have been able to be where we're at now. So some of the things that we have worked on here in the last year, that first graph, the big one, is our calls for service in the downtown area. A lot of times people will ask myself and Chief Thum, how do you measure success in this work, and how do you understand how to really plan for what's working, what's not working? And fortunately, but unfortunately, the only way that we can really track is, one, the calls that we receive from you all, whether it's complaints, wins, things like that, and then also calls for service. So you'll see in this graph, the gray line was the summer of 2024, and then the navy blue line is summer of 2025. So you can see that we have seen some great progress with some of the efforts that we've put in place to help support our community and support you all, support our shoppers and our downtown goers. So the boxes there are just some milestones that we can track. So when DTSF might add a new ambassador, or when our partner in South Dakota Urban Indian Health does something new, we add that in there so we really can see what's working. And one of the biggest things was the call to action in the summer of 2024. The mayor really felt the need to say, hey, we as a community need to step up and figure out how we can support each other, specific to our homeless population and just some of the issues that we were seeing. So that really helped spearhead the efforts that we saw at the end of 2024 and then all the way through 2025 as well. That top right-hand graphic is, I guess I should say, do you want to say anything on that part?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's important to note the call to action. And I think previous to that, especially from a law enforcement standpoint, I think there was this idea that law enforcement needed to be distanced from that issue. Even throughout the country, but even through our own community, I think there was a push of us away from these issues because of a lot of the narratives that had kind of just existed at that time. I think at that point, the reality is this keys on what Michelle talked about, is that it's everybody's issue and it's a collaborative issue. The greatest success we've had has been by collaborating and working together and moving things forward, but also calling out the obvious, right? I think it was time to make some discussions and some things from a state level. And so I go back to 2024 when, from a law enforcement standpoint, the dirty secret of our state and our region was that everybody was being sent to us because we had the resources. And I always kind of say at that press conference, we were able to publicly call that out. And I get the chance to highlight, do you know how many angry phone calls I got from other police chiefs the next day? Exactly 0, because they knew what was being said was the truth. And this has opened up dialogue at the state level, especially from law enforcement partners and from other people within the state to say, hey, we need to communicate about this problem. How we've talked with lawmakers since then about opening up, what's the idea? And again, it's easy for me to spend the feds and the state's money, right? Just give me the checkbook, I'll start writing. But about the support systems that are interlocked throughout our state, but also the recognition that we can't eat the whole apple, right? A point in time last year and even this year was a third were from Sioux Falls, a third were from South Dakota, not Sioux Falls, and a third were from 28 different states. And so it's really hard for us to try to consume something that is basically bigger than our infrastructure and bigger than we have. So pushing that dialogue forward is not one about lacking compassion, but it's about seeking the realistic aspect of what the issue is and then finding solutions that we can move forward on that. And that's where I want to praise Michelle quite a bit. Because as law enforcement, I think if you've ever heard me talk, we didn't want to be the focal point of this discussion, but in many ways we were. And with Michelle's position, we're able to focus and make that collaborative effort even better. And I just want to highlight a story just from one of our partners who we were having a conversation earlier this year. Was like, if you had told me 2 years ago that we would work hand in hand with the police collaboratively and like it, I never would have believed you. I'm paraphrasing that a little bit. But that's what happens because we see commonalities, we see the greater good of what we're trying to accomplish. And just props to Michelle for being the unifying force around all these different entities that have kind of pushed us forward.
That the graphic there up in the in the corner is an enhancement. It's new. Some of you may not have even seen this yet. It's an enhancement that we put under the 8th Street Bridge there, the walking path that goes underneath there. We just really saw a lot of problematic behavior that happens underneath that bridge. We would get folks that would lay on top of the ledge there and roll off down into the water. Some minor situations, but some very, very extreme situations that led to death. So it was really important for us to look at that space and find out what can we do to enhance the space. So it complements the lock wall on the other side of the path there. And so we may be doing a few more things to that, but that's a new thing to share. And then, of course, we had a very successful anti-panhandling campaign. A lot of people question this, what are we doing here? Why can't we just give money to whoever we want to? And at the end of the day, you can do that. But what this was kind of another call to action in our community to say, hey, when you give cash to people that are panhandling, there's a couple dynamics there. One, it's usually and more than likely not spent on anything that's very helpful to them and their journey that they're going on. And two, some of those people are frauds. They may not be in a situation where they actually need cash. It's a way to kind of dupe people into thinking that they're really in need and need help. So it was very successful campaign. We saw a lot of individuals that went back to the city site that said where they can direct their time, their money, and any volunteer opportunities that people might be able to kind of redirect their giving. And so we will continue to do that into 2026. It won't be as large of a campaign as what we saw in 2025, but we will drip it again to the community to just say, hey, remember that we just would really like to get you to rethink of how you're giving your time and your money. So what to expect from us in 2026? Chief mentioned the point in time count. For those of you that might not know what that is, it's a count of homeless individuals, sheltered and unsheltered. It's mandated by HUD that we complete one of these counts every year. Why we in South Dakota have to do this in January is still a big question of mine, and I think a lot of people, but we have to follow the rules. So our next point in time count here for 2026 is just in a couple weeks. So we will have a new set of data. Again, a lot of questions come my way about the point in time count. Is it accurate? How do we actually know that that's how many sheltered and unsheltered individuals we have? But the reality is that it still remains one of the only strong data points that we have to go off of to understand what our community needs. So that'll be happening on January 27th, and then we'll be able to communicate what our numbers look like. Last year, we were at 614. So I'm very interested to see what our numbers for 2026 will look like.
Additionally, for years we've been working on a job description for a new community resource officer. This community resource officer, we've done a couple acronyms. I can't remember the acronyms. We haven't landed on one yet. But the idea is to be the police department's focal point of contact to kind of unify a lot of the work that Michelle's doing and be that designated police presence, but also a liaison or a bridge to downtown businesses and really work as more of a case manager as far as what exactly are the individuals that we're working with, what's the most effective way to kind of bridge and unify that. I think if I go back to when I first was promoted in sergeant in 2015, they said, hey, Thum, you're the downtown sergeant, right? You're gonna go to all these meetings. You're gonna be aware of the pulse of things that are there. And I think this is kind of this coming full circle and now implementing it with a more community-wide focus that will be, I think, key into what we're trying to accomplish. Again, I think just to give you a brief also overview of staffing, everything becomes staffing dependent. We're authorized 308 officers. We have 293 today, but here's how we dig through the numbers a little bit. And when I talk to people around the country, we're doing far better than most agencies our size. Our application numbers are up. But when you break down our numbers of the 293, we've got 30 in training, 2 to 7 perpetually injured due to the nature of our work, 2 to 7, it seems, perpetually on baby leave, and 2 to 7 deployed. So when you really start to deploy your resources, you're looking at about a functional 250. And so that's where we're looking to try to get our numbers up. The reality is that it's probably harder than it's ever been before. And it's not necessarily getting the applications or getting them hired, it's getting them through training. And this is where a lot of agencies our size and metros our size start to compromise standards for the sake of numbers. And I remain steadfast in the fact that I'd rather work with the right people than the right number. And so we'll continue to work through this. On the horizon, I see a generation that's kind of more minded and is more open to the profession of policing. We're pretty upfront with our recruits now about resiliency, because this job is extremely hard and learning this job is extremely hard. But as our staffing comes up, we have a lot of ideas of how we can implement even more programs like this and teams like this. And so again, more to be, stay tuned, but also if you know somebody who'd be a good applicant, please encourage them to apply, right? And I think that's something we're always giving that messaging out there, is that we're always hiring and again, looking for the right people so we can fulfill some of these more specialized positions.
We also are, being that we've had such good success with the collaboration with the ambassadors, our police department, our school resource officers hang out downtown during the summers. And so that's working. And the way that we have that set up, that team, it's working really well. And so as you saw within the numbers and the data on the screen, we're seeing success there. So if it's not broke, why, so we're gonna take that from 2025 and re-implement that into 2026. And so obviously we've got some different dynamics that we'll be looking at, but for the most part, we're gonna continue to do what we're doing. We have some different ways of tracking data just citywide. We also use the data from our South Dakota Urban Indian team, the Wokie Project. They pump us out monthly data, which includes downtown calls or needs from you guys. So we're gonna continue to look at that data, analyze it, and make changes where we need. But for the most part, you can expect for us to have a heavy presence again in the downtown area for the summer at least. And so last summer, we did a little bit of canvassing out. We handed out some resources to many of you. We've got the little who to contact cards, which I brought a handful of them today. So if you want one or have lost yours, I can give you an extra one. We're going to continue to do that. But these are the main numbers and contact people that you all would benefit from having. So if you see anything, you see issues or need help with anything, please utilize these folks. Of course, you guys have access to the ambassadors. You have access to the Wokie outreach team. They work together hand in hand. So if it's something that the ambassadors feel like is kind of out of their scope, they'll call the Wokie team, and then one step further, they'll call law enforcement if they have to. But please use them. That's what they're there for. The Wokie team is a city-funded outreach contract, so we've just seen really great success with them. And in 2026, we're looking at some expansion with them as well. So again, it has worked really well. So take note of those numbers. And again, I brought the cards here today if some of you would like some of those.
Did you have anything else, or do you want me to close it out? I don't know.
I do have one more thing.
You have one more thing? Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry. I forgot. We do also have a new website. So if you have any questions about policies, procedures, ordinances, anything related to that in homelessness, there's a direct link. I put that up there as well. Feel free to browse through that and find any information that you might have to answer any questions.
Just kind of shifting gears to one more topic, and this has been on our radar for the past couple of years now, is just some of the I call it chaos of the after bar or during bar crowds at night at Phillips. And this has caused us to staff parking ramps, close parking ramps. Highlighted for me most recently, I work patrol every New Year's Eve. And we had a couple incidents co-occurring at the same time in a parking ramp in one of the establishments, produced basically for first responders some pretty unsafe events. So no, this is very much on our radar. Expect some strong conversations in the next year about collaboration from bar owners about what the next steps are. This rewinding in my Back to the Future DeLorean. In 2015, when I was downtown sergeant, some of the conversations I was having is what's the vision for this corridor of Phillips Avenue? Do we see residential? Do we see business? Do we see nightclub? Because my experience in law enforcement tells me that those always don't coexist the best, right? And that continues to be an issue that I think we as a downtown community have to talk about moving forward. I think collaboration with businesses is key. Most recently, I'll highlight some of the collaboration with Bottom Shelf Liquor. There was some strong conversations between law enforcement and partners that are like, you know what? $5.99 vodka isn't doing anybody good on any side of the equation, right? And some of these conversations just have to be had about what the strategy is. Because as all this is going on New Year's Eve, we've got officers spread over every corner of the city, so the reality of blanketing the downtown with officers isn't just always going to be the best solution either. So no, that's very front of mind for me and very top of mind of what we need to do and how we need to accomplish it. But again, that's another issue that's going to require collaboration and unification of what exactly we want to see happen. One more thing, actually two more. Now you give me a microphone and a podium, I'm going to go a little bit. Our public safety press brief will be in February. We will report fantastic progress and stats in a lot of major key crime areas. The reality is every time we report good news, nobody knows. You wanna know why? We don't share good news. We don't consume good news. That's not the way our media cycle necessarily works, and that's not the way we work as individuals if you look at what you do, look in your social media streams. So as this news comes out, which includes probably a 40% reduction in stolen vehicles from 23 to 25, decreases in key areas of assaults, share the good news. Be the champion of good news. The narrative continues to put out, I had somebody tell me, well, you know, crime's up in Sioux Falls, blah, 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 it's unsafe. I'm like, well, statistics tell you otherwise, that it's actually pretty stable. That doesn't matter. What matters is my perception. No, what doesn't matter is your perception, right? Like, this is part of the issue we have right now. Statistics do matter. We're not gonna be, no one's naive. We're not telling you there's no crime. We're not telling you there's no issues, but statistics have to matter, right? What we see has to matter. We can't just decide what the reality is based off our feelings and our emotions. And so that's just something I want you to kind of champion the good news all around you, not just police good news, but whether, I mean, I get smarter every time Cottter talks, I'll tell you this, right? Right, and same thing with Eckoff. To see some of this good news is be the champion of it. And one more thing, I got a little hay in my horns right now because I don't know if you saw this about news we don't consume. We did a press brief in December with the helpline, this partnership for mentorship, and the goal was for 3 title schools to get 75 mentors. Did anybody, with another Q&A thing, can anybody tell me how many mentors we got for those 3 title schools? 36, thank you. This should be a story that resonates throughout our community, and many of us should feel convicted about that fact. A city of 225,000 somehow managed to muster 36 mentors for initiative that is directly related to the public good and the good of our community. Again, news story comes out, it comes, it goes. And in my quote, I don't think they used my quote because I kind of wanted to get a little more fiery about it, but I'm like, everybody looks around saying somebody else will do it. Guess what? Somebody's you. The reason I bring this up to you, and I brought this up to leadership Sioux Falls, is this is a room full of leaders, business leaders, community leaders. The influence you have on the area around you is tangible and absolutely effective, right? How we message, how we communicate, how we influence those around us has a direct translation into other people getting moved and getting called into action. Again, we can look down the road and we can talk about what needs to be done. I can tell you that preventative issues, right, do much more than after the fact. And Jeff Eckoff is gonna just hate that I'm doing this, right? But Jeff has been mentoring a young man for years now. Never knew he did it, right? Until I showed up at my kids' wrestling meet and Jeff Eckoff's sitting there. I'm like, what are you doing here, Jeff? Oh, I'm mentoring this kid. Have been since what, 3rd grade, Jeff? Yeah, 3rd grade, now a kid's an 8th grader. I ran into his principal at Edison, this kid. I'm like, tell me about this kid. Like, how he's a phenomenal kid, right? Good grades, involved in all sporting activities, not only is in orchestra, but is in select orchestra. And I guarantee that a mentor's involvement in his life matters. And so that's where I'm kind of hijacked this thing, but I know what I got here, right? I got a room full of leaders, and again, we want things to be in our community a fantastic community. This is one of the steps that we can all help with. And don't worry, the next public audience I get, they'll get the same speech, because this is something this is a hill I'm going to die on. So anyway, appreciate your time. Again, look forward to the collaboration in the future, and appreciate everything that downtown Sioux Falls has grown into and what it will continue to be. Because again, as a lifelong Sioux Falls resident, I couldn't be more proud to bring my kids, my family, and people down here and say, yep, this is our hometown. And let me tell you what it was. Let me tell you show you what it is, and let me tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be phenomenal. So thank you.
Thank you both for the work you're doing. I don't think mentorship is off topic at all. We're all talking about building a downtown for the next generation and doing work today that matters decades out. So thank you for that. Thank you also for adding additional resource officers this last year to downtown. I think that mattered significantly to the business community. We went from 3 to 6 in the last year. We're going to be matching that energy as well. We'll be having 3 seasonal ambassadors from April. We're going to extend that season a little further into November as well this year, just with the support from the city that we've been able to secure with the RFP process. So to close this out, I'm going to bring up Taryn Sietsema from the DTSF team just to give you a couple of quick updates from DTSF, and then we'll wrap it. Please take all the treats and the coffee. We have a staff of 4. We can't eat that many muffins. So come on up.
Hello, good morning, everyone. See if I can, there we go. Before I start, I just want to give a shout out to Jonah at Pomegranate Market for supplying us with the coffee and all the wonderful baked goods today. If you haven't been over to Pomegranate, please go check it out. It is an amazing addition to downtown Sioux Falls, and so thank you. Take some treats back to the office with you, because I think we have more than we needed, so thank you so much. For DTSF updates, I just really want to say a huge thank you to everyone for being a member of DTSF. I've been with the team for 9 months now, and my greatest joy is getting out and meeting everyone and learning about all the amazing things you're doing downtown. So thank you so much. We appreciate all of you. We appreciate all that you do to make downtown the best place to be. Basically, from the membership forefront at DTSF, we are working on a lot of things. I don't know if you know most of our team. We have Jared. Jared's in the back. He's our events manager. He is our longest, hi Jared. He's our longest tenured employee right now at 5 years, almost 5 years. And then Melanie and Melanie is in the back taking pictures also. Melanie jumped into our creative specialist role this year right before Riverfest. And so it's been amazing having her. I'm sure you've noticed our social media presence has just blossomed since that time. And so we're super excited to just keep growing on that forefront too, as our overarching goal is to drive foot traffic to downtown Sioux Falls. So we're excited for that. I've been here since April, and then of course we've got Brandon. We've got 1.5 positions that we are in the process of filling right now too, so we're really excited to hopefully be fully staffed within the next couple of months. We are working on updating our new membership materials, which is really exciting. If you've looked at anything that we have, it just doesn't tell a very good story about DTSF in general, so really looking forward to that and to telling a story of what we actually do in downtown Sioux Falls and how downtown is the economic hub of the city of Sioux Falls. We are also going to be working, if you've been in our Neon portal for members, we are working on adding some videos, some how-to videos, because I know it can be difficult for people to know how, can I reset my password, can I not? How do I update our profile? All of those things. So we're going to be working on bringing some videos to you guys, which I hope you'll find as helpful. Also, one thing that I'm passionate about is I really want to bring more free trainings to our members. So many of you are such experts at what you do. We really want to tap into what you know to help our other members grow. Everything from marketing to advertising and everything in between. So be looking for that, and I will be probably reaching out to some of you for some of that leadership too as we move forward with those trainings. I'm also going to be launching a new membership committee, hopefully by second quarter. We had this in the past, but I think it's been a good 4 or 5 years since we've actively met. And so looking forward to just bringing some of you all into that and helping us grow in our membership committee role too. If you want more information on that, please hit me up because I'm happy to add anybody that would be interested in that. Also, we're actively promoting our new podcast called Hello Downtown. I'm super excited about that. You might be getting an email from Melanie to ask you to come over and do either a member moment with me or be part of the overall podcast with Brandon. I think it's just been really fun to just highlight. We've been highlighting Burger Battle members, a lot of the Retail Roundtable folks that meet with me every other Friday. It's been really fun just to get to know people in a different aspect than just Tammy from the Tea and Spice Exchange, you know? And Tammy and I also, I think Melanie had to cut us off. We talked for like 25 minutes straight. So probably not a good duo to put together all the time, but it was really fun. And so I look forward to having more of you on those membership moments too. We are also expanding and improving our events calendar on the DTSF website. If that is something that you struggle with in your office, you just don't have enough people to help put your events on the calendar, please reach out to me. We are happy to help get any event that is going on in downtown added to our calendar. We want our calendar to be the one that everyone looks at to find out what's going on in downtown Sioux Falls. So please ask if you need help. Lastly, I just want to say, your participation really does matter. I'm sure sometimes being part of a member organization, you're wondering, are they actually listening to me? We are actually listening to you. If you have any feedback, comments, or anything that you think we can do better, please let us know. We're happy to hear that. A lot of us are new, and we have a lot of things that we're trying, but we're not perfect. So call us out or give us feedback at any time. Okay, last, I have to throw in a Burger Battle joke just for Jared here. Everybody reaches out and asks what place they're in every single week during the Burger Battle. And as you know, it's an intense competition. So our new reply to everyone is, well, you're in the top 50. I don't know that people really appreciate that, but we think it's fun in the office, so that's what we're going with. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the events we have upcoming with Downtown Sioux Falls. I think I have a few minutes left here. Of course, we're right in the thick of things with Burger Battle right now. Thank you for everyone that's trying the burgers. There are so many amazing burgers out there. Please get out, try them. Winter Crazy Days, this Friday and Saturday. We have a lot of great deals at a lot of our retail businesses, so please check that out. It's a great time to shop and really just love on our local businesses. We are excited for Mash Madness this March, which of course ties into the Summit League basketball. We're gonna have a shuttle bus again going out to the Premier Center and back to downtown to encourage folks to hit up downtown Sioux Falls to shop, eat, and drink, and do all the things. We are also, as downtown Sioux Falls, going to have a booth out at the Premier Center this year, which is new, and I think that will be exciting too. So more to come on that. We are also really excited to partner with AARP for a mayoral forum on March 24th at 7 o'clock at the Washington Pavilion. So we hope all of you will join us and get to know all of the candidates vying to be our next mayor. And then we have Restaurant Week in April. We are also, again, doing our open streets events, so 4 of them this summer, which we're really excited about. They went really well last summer, and so we're just really excited to improve on those events, and we have some fun ideas coming up with that too, so stay tuned. And then last but not least, we've got Riverfest again, the 3rd weekend in September 19th, and we are looking forward to making that even bigger and better than last year. And that's it. That's all I have. That's my email address. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free. If I haven't met you yet, send me an email, and we can meet up for coffee or something. I want to get to know everybody. And then last but not least, you can call our office phone number too. By the way, we finally got our new phone system, so you will not get the message that our voicemail box is full finally after a couple of months. So we're really excited about that. Thank you guys so much, and I look forward to chatting with you.